This is like the worst light that we're reading in history. Thank you. I'm honored to be here to read in the dark. And, this is like a loaded lead-in. When I got out of prison a long time ago with a 20-year heroin habit and on parole with no future, I went to rehab, and like everybody in rehab, I became a drug and alcohol counselor. And so I did that for like 6 years and became totally burned out. And I wrote this about that. That sounded good. But this about that. So anyway, this is when I was a drug and alcohol counselor way back when. It's also the first piece that ever got published way back when. It's called There's a Crackhead at My Window. I don't mean there's a crackhead outside I can see through the window. I mean there's a crackhead pressed against my office window. He's up on the ledge, a few feet above the bushes, his face pressed flat against the window pane. One eye staring down at me, the other wandering. I hear him talking, watch his lips as they move, his breath fogging the glass. I can barely catch what it is he's saying. The noise of the passing traffic on the street below is loud. But when it subsides, I can hear him describing, in detail, a litany of problems. Talking about all the people who are out to get him. The police, the FBI, the terrorists, and something about an unholy, immoral, Jesus-hating jihad. From the pained expression on his face, it's like I'm looking at a cornered animal. Only he's the only one outside. Nothing but the sky at his back. I'm the one caught in a room with only one way out. His wandering eye stops moving, and for a millisecond we make contact. Then he begins mumbling again. My phone rings. I answer it. It's the front desk. Mr. O'Neill, asked the receptionist, is there someone outside your window? There's a crackhead at my window. I can hear his fingers beating an unhurried, melodic rhythm against the glass. The rumble of the morning's traffic accompanying like a throat singer's slow vibrato. I can hear the receptionist breathing in my ear. The phone receiver, cold and personal against my face. There's some sort of static. There's an annoying hiss. There's people talking in the lobby. I want to hang up. I want to ignore everything that's going on. Hello, she says. You still there? Yeah, I'm still here. A neighbor from across the street, actually the bartender, works at the bar on the corner, called to report someone lurking on the side of the building. Just to be on the safe side, I had someone from maintenance go outside to check. He said there's a man on the ledge outside your office. Is that true? There's a crackhead at my window. He's busy drawing stick figures in the mist his breath leaves when he blows on the glass. The tip of his finger turns white as he moves it against the window in a circle forming a stick man's head. I wonder if he's drawing his life history and story, or maybe it's a sketch of those people who are out to get him. Either way, before he can finish, the figures disappear, leaving small, greasy, circular marks. He looks down at me. I look up, wave, point the phone, mimic that I'm busy talking. I get the feeling that he understands because he goes back to breathing on the window while drumming his fingers. He's going this tap, 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 and this little double da-da like he's dashing out Morse code. There's a crackhead at my window, I say, and listen as the receptionist holds her breath. A crackhead? Yeah, I do believe he's a crackhead. He's certainly not a speed freak, definitely not a dope fiend, too spaced to be just a pot smoker and way too coordinated to be a drunk. So yeah, he's a crackhead, all right. What should I do, she asked. I hear a phone ringing in the background. Apparently she's too preoccupied wondering what to do with the crackhead to answer the incoming calls. What do you mean, do, I ask. Do you want me to call the police, the firemen, the paramedics? There's a crackhead at my window. His shadow hovers across my desk, blocking out the sun. With one finger he points at me, then he points at his head. There's so much pain in his eyes, it's unnerving. He shakes his head and repeats the same cycle, pointing first at me, then his head, me, his head, over and over again. I put the phone receiver down, stand up and walk closer to the window. What, I'm in your head, I ask? He nods yes, blows on the glass, writes H-E-P-L on the mist his breath is left. I pick up a pad of paper and write the word help and show it to him. He breathes on the window, writes help backwards and smiles. I sit down on my desk, the pad of paper still in my hand. I'm thinking maybe I should be feeling all warm and fuzzy about having shared such a tender moment with a stranger, but I don't. Looking through the smudged glass, I see the crackhead's scabby face, dried spittle forming lumps at the corners of his mouth, the whites of his eyes bloodshot and yellow. Behind him, the San Francisco skyline, the new federal building, the Holiday Inn, the high-rise to downtown. There's a crackhead at my window. He's standing there, I don't know what to do. After all, what are my options? Give him money so he'll go away, probably to buy more crack. Call the cops and let them deal with him. Keep smiling, waving, ignoring, until he loses interest and leaves on his own accord. None of these are feasible options. None of them the right thing to do. The clock reads 11:45. 15 minutes until lunch. 15 minutes of me staring at one another, me staring at the crackhead, one another, looking at each other. I get up, face the window, shrug my shoulders and wave goodbye. The crackhead looks puzzled, like he never expected this to happen. I can't sit here with him standing over me any longer. My house feels strange and beginning to feel self-conscious. My window, now a mass of fingerprints and smudges. Stepping out in the hallway, I run to one of my coworkers. "How's it going?" she asked. "There's a crackhead at my window," I tell her, and then turn and walk into the lobby. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're going like, "Patrick, that was, you're like a nonfiction writer. That was poetry. That was like pure poetry. It was kind of like a rhythmic stance with some lyrical stuff thrown in there. This wasn't really poetry, but for the first time ever, I'm taking my glasses off, I've written a poem to go along with this. It's probably the first and last time. I sent this to a couple of literary poem journals, those little ones, tiny little things, and they rejected it. What do they know? So, this is the one. I'm just going to end this with this little thing. I'm going to give it a go here. I can't do the poet voice, but I'll try to give everything I can. Someone like you just ran into a homeless street person who looked eerily like you. Well, like you if you never stopped drinking, and your liver was extended and made your stomach stick out, and probably after smoking meth for 20 years. So really, he doesn't look exactly like you. Thank you.